Oh, we got new things. Okay.
What new things?
Something about a pin chat. I'm going to scoot the camera up a little bit. Folks, bear with us and let us know if the sound is any good. No one has said anything yet. Shows we have 0 watchers.
Wow.
Yeah, super popular people we are.
Oh, we got one.
I'm still showing 0.
When it says, oh, I'm watching.
Oh, we got 3, 2 thumbs ups. How about that? See, everybody hit that thumbs up. Yep, there's some people. Okay. So how's everybody doing tonight? We haven't done a live stream in quite a while, so figured we'd give it a go. Also, we are doing a product test. And we're not being endorsed, or not endorsed, sponsored or anything like that by anybody, but I bought these DJI mics with the intent of using them for a podcast, like at farm shows and stuff, and thought we'd just try it out here.
You throw like Dax of Sturdy Jammies in the Ford. How was your trip?
Where'd we go?
You went to Fargo.
Oh, yeah, that was, it's a lot of snow. A lot of snow in Fargo. And then we went to Snowshoe Mountain, West Virginia, where it snowed more. Good times, lots of snow.
Yeah. How was the pizza?
What did you think? I mean, it was kind of outdated by a day. So if this podcast ends rather abruptly, it's because we both have food poisoning and we're running to the bathroom.
Yeah. Are you done with the D8?
Nope. We had to order some parts. So the D8 video should start up Sunday. Tomorrow there's going to be a video on how we purchase inputs, and then Sunday I'm hoping to have the first D8 track video out. So yeah, you guys will see some carnage on Sunday. So hope everybody had a good Christmas and a good holiday season. Any questions? This is your time.
I'm just here for the working words.
Well, we did do a podcast with Dad last week, so I have to edit that sometime in the near future. I was originally hoping to have that done by Monday, but I've got 3 videos to edit, so that's probably not going to happen. But there's several working words on Dad's podcast. You guys are going to see him in more of his relaxed state, and they just flow, don't they?
He doesn't even know he's doing it.
Yeah, like every other word's a cuss word usually.
It's very colorful.
Yep.
Do you collect anything?
I don't know. Kayla says I'm a hoarder.
He collects everything. He
Yeah.
doesn't get rid of anything at all, ever.
Might need it.
The hats we have.
We have a lot of hats.
Astonishing.
We have a lot of hats. But I mean, a lot of people give us hats, so we have a lot of hats.
Yeah. What editing software do you use on your iPad?
I use a software called LumaFusion. So I've used that since my first video. Every video I've done has been on LumaFusion. There's probably more things you can do with like Final Cut Pro or Adobe, but I've never used them. I knew when I started YouTubing that it was going to have to be very easy for me to do, like in a mobile setting. Like I wanted something I could do anywhere, anytime, so that's why I picked an iPad. Has anyone said how the sound quality is?
They all said it was fine.
No.
What's the building progress?
So today we were kind of working on that a little bit. If you follow us on Instagram or Facebook, if you don't, check that out, you know. But we rented a sheep's foot roller. We've been packing gravel down.
Why is it called it? It doesn't look anything like a sheep's foot.
I have no idea. I just know that's what it's called. We rent one of those for the week. That'll be a video probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Trying to get that gravel pad ready for concrete. The first delivery of lumber is supposed to be sometime in this month. So they're not really planning on starting until March. Like that's when the actual building trusses are supposed to be delivered. But yeah, that's kind of the progress for now. Just kind of getting the site still prepped. Concrete's pretty important. You only have one shot at it, and then it's down. So that's why we rented that roller. I mean, it was $2,000 to rent that for a week, but that's pretty cheap in the grand scheme of the building, and especially if we have to redo a floor.
So is that what you're doing all week? Just driving back and forth?
For the next few days. I mean,
Did you get the house started yet?
No, but we do have a pretty big update coming on that. So the reason the house has not started, we're taking a construction loan on this. The main holdup for this whole thing has been getting that construction loan closed. We've been approved a few times now, but our closing date is finally scheduled for Tuesday. So after that, the builder said that the forms or the ICF blocks for the basement, they were like 3 weeks out. He's supposed to order those as the day we close. Or I guess he could do it now, I guess. But so sometime this month, we should be starting on the basement at least. Hopefully digging it before the forms get here and then pouring it once the forms get here.
Did you get a new Kenworth?
No. Trying to think what would bring that question up. We have a red T680 and we've had a white Kenworth dump truck most of my life, so those are the only Kenworths we have.
Any new equipment coming?
Nothing for sure yet. So there might be some demos coming, but nothing sure enough that I'd tell you yay or nay yet. Also, we will all be at Farm Science Review, minus Kayla. Kayla starts student teaching here soon, so she's out for the foreseeable future on trips. But Dad, BJ, his wife, we're all going to be at a farm machinery show in Louisville. We'll be doing a meet and greet at the Unverforth booth on Wednesday and Thursday, and we'll probably be there a little bit Friday. So there's that. So you excited to student teach? So Kayla has been working on a teaching degree for a while, but every time she would get good and into school,
I'd get pregnant.
yeah, I don't know.
And then I'd vomit for 9 months, and I couldn't do school and vomit for 9 months.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, it's kind of working out to where whenever she graduates, all of our kids are in school now. Makes that pretty convenient. But yeah, I don't know how you kept getting pregnant. That was weird. So our kids are still awake. One of the kids is about to come downstairs. You think it's Livy or Dax?
Both.
Ooh, it is both.
Livy, have you ever shaved your beard?
A few times. Why are you guys down here?
Do you want me to fix it?
We're talking to everybody on YouTube.
Looks like we're talking to a phone, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. They're really confused.
What's your favorite tractor?
Fine bonus is Saul Lozel.
Oh, funny guy.
What's your favorite tractor?
Ones that we have,
That's what's wrong.
I don't know, probably either one of the 1038s, the Fendt or the Challenger. I like both those tractors very well. The John Deere's cool until you drive it for a while. Then you kind of miss the Fendt.
There you go. Get out of here.
He's too a big loser.
Hey, go back to bed. Get on. Go on now, get.
Did you waffle stomp all day?
Yeah, that does look like a big waffle, doesn't it?
Okay.
Did you burp?
Yeah.
Okay, go back to bed.
I wasn't.
Good night.
How's George?
George is good. He did have a little bit of health issues about a month ago, but he has since recovered. He is hibernating for winter because George does not like the cold.
See you in the morning.
I'll see you in the morning. Good night.
Good night, Livy.
Get in bed. What's your drink of choice?
Coffee. Now, if we're talking adult beverages, I go back and forth between Coors and Michelob.
Don't touch it.
Don't touch that, Dax. All right.
Go get on
Do you see
jammies
us?
and get in bed.
All right, go get on your jammies. Yep, go get in your jammies.
I'm gonna get a cup.
All right.
Like this.
No. Go get one of your cups. Have you sold any of your grain yet?
Yeah, we actually have some to haul for January. Once that roller leaves, we'll probably be doing that. We'll probably start doing that next week, Monday, would be my guess.
Are you putting in floor heat in the shop?
We are indeed doing that, yep.
What is the oldest tractor you would buy?
That I would buy? I guess it would depend on the size of the tractor. So, for example, when Kayla and I build our house, I intend on keeping that farm a little bit more mowed than I usually do. So usually we mow that with a bush hog like once a month. It suffices, but when we live there, I plan on mowing that like every week because that's where we're going to live. We're going to be there all the time. So I'd like to get like a 50-horse tractor to pull a finish mower that we already have. For that, I'd buy like a 30, 40-year-old tractor, no problem. Like for a field tractor, to pull the plant on one of the main tractors, I'd like to keep it probably 10 years or under 2,000 hours if I was buying it. I'd run it for as long as it was not a problem, but wouldn't want to really start out over 2,000 hours.
Mahindra, John Deere, or Kubota for a small tractor?
Of those three, probably John Deere. I have no experience with the other two, other than on the farm with the old grain site. The people that live on that farm have a Kubota. I don't fit in it. I don't like it. That said, it is an older Kubota. I'm sure they're a little bit better now. And I have no experience with Mahindra tractors. I like my Mahindra Roxor, but that was built by Mahindra Automotive Division, and that's a different division from Mahindra Tractor Division, so no experience.
I'm 43 and I've never had a beer. That's unfortunate.
Even Kayla's had a beer. Kayla had a few beers on New Year's. There wasn't a whole lot of options. So we went to a wedding on New Year's.
Good night, Bob. See you in the morning.
Why did you guys have to go on
I don't know. Daddy want to test these things out.
When we went to that wedding?
Yeah.
Because we wanted to go to the wedding.
Bub was getting married, so I wanted to go. Go get in bed.
We'll see you in the morning. Put on some jammies.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Good night.
Oh, how's your finger? Your stupid finger.
Yeah, we call it the stupid finger. For the most part, it works. I can't quite get it any further than that. And, this one I can. Better than, just completely straight. But yeah, it hurts when it's cold. That's a little weird. So they know you're getting old, I guess.
Other than the new shop, are you planning any new upgrades? I'm going with a new husband. Wait, what?
You probably have a few applicants. So yes, the next video that comes out where we're buying inputs, one of the stops in that video, we stop at our GSI dealer, and we did buy a dryer this fall. And in that video, the dryer's actually in that video, so that'll be a pretty big upgrade. That's going at the new facility. The old dryer at that place is going to the old setup, so huge upgrade to the old grain facility. The dryer that is at that old grain facility is from 1975 or 1976, so we're putting a much more modern dryer there. That'll really help that place out quite a bit. But there's going to be a lot of restructuring at the old facility. There's going to be an air system installed over there instead of having to use the leg to dump the dryer. So, yeah, those are pretty big infrastructure changes.
What's your favorite part about the farm?
I don't know. I don't know how to narrow that down to one thing.
Pick top 3.
Well, I like not having to work for somebody else. Like, I'm very motivated to do things that are part of this farm.
When you want.
Yeah, I'm working for myself. I'm not working for somebody else or for a paycheck, so it just feels different. What's your favorite part? I went and got you breakfast this morning at 9:30. I wouldn't be able to do that if we worked at a factory.
You didn't want to do that this morning either. You wanted to stay in bed and play on your phone.
I did.
What's your favorite part of your wife? Does he mean about your wife or favorite?
Wow.
That's a little naughty. Is that Kayla's weighted blanket?
Nope, it's on the bed. Nope, it's, I don't know, she likes it. I'm not a big fan because it doesn't cover my side of the bed, and it pulls all the blankets off my side of the bed.
No, it just keeps it even, because you always take the blanket now and keeps them
Whatever.
in place.
Anyways.
Are you going to restore the 40-20?
That is 100% Dad's choice. So whatever he wants to do, I'm okay with. He goes back and forth quite a bit. on to repaint it or not to repaint it. We bought a new starter for it. Like to at least fix the back window in it, but other than that, he goes back and forth on keeping the paint original or repainting it.
What are your thoughts on college? Did you go?
So I went to Ohio State ATI for 2 years. I did not graduate. I did drop out. I'm just not a big. I just didn't
Brian
do it.
doesn't need a degree to do what he's doing. He can do what he's doing without a degree, and it never mattered. It wasn't going to make a difference in pay.
But I mean, I
Whatever.
did enjoy going to college. Like I was telling someone earlier this year, the people I met in that school are people that are in my industry now. I see quite regularly, a lot more regularity than I thought I would.
You went to college to social network and not get a degree.
I mean, it's a good experience. I mean, I would not have had that experience had I not went, but at the same time, did not need to 100%. So it 100% to me depends on what you're trying to get out of college, what degree you're going. I mean, obviously you can't be a doctor, like a medical doctor, without going to college. Most professions, I feel like going to college is just checking a box, because most of the things you're going to need to know at that profession are going to be taught to you on the job. I learned more about farming the first week after I dropped out of school than I would have had I got a doctorate at Ohio State. So it just depends on what you're going to do. College is definitely not for everyone. When Kayla and I were in school, I graduated in 2008, she graduated in 2009. It was basically pushed on us to go to college by most schools, I think, at that time. Basically, we felt like if you didn't go to college, you were a loser. That's just how it was presented to
We
us.
had a terrible counselor in high school. Terrible. Now the school has like a better counselor and they influence the kids. Like if military is your thing, do the military. If trade schools are your thing, do the trade
I
school.
mean, it almost felt like when we were in school, trade school was for people that couldn't graduate. Is kind of how I felt like it was
Because we
presented.
had a terrible counselor.
And I don't think that's the case anymore. A lot of people are doing trade schools now, and I feel like that's a good option. That's great. A lot of my friends that probably should have went to trade schools because they end up taking up a trade of some sort.
Quit moving your arm, you're messing with the mic and it sounds weird, I don't know.
No, they end up going back to trade school after high school. So.
College teaches you to manage both time and money. I don't know if that's true. We need people from trade schools.
100%. A lot of my friends and like my brother-in-law, a lot of people I went to high school with became linemen. And I mean, that's a really good job. They make good living, stable career. They can easily get a job anywhere. And yeah, trades are pretty important.
If farming was not in the picture, what profession would you be in?
So at one time, I really wanted to be an historian. So I really enjoy learning about history. Still do that often. People ask me what kind of YouTube channels I watch. It's not that exciting. I watch a lot of history YouTube channels, a lot of history documentaries. So probably something like that, or heavy equipment operating. I enjoy that quite a bit also.
Coffee at 9:30. It's not coffee.
Might be Tito's and cranberry juice in this cup.
Are you guys going to trade a combine off on another gleaner?
We're really close to trading off our Kloss for a 8600 Kloss, which is a size bigger machine. It was a used machine and it was a pretty good price. We ended up holding off on that just because with the shop going on, there was some land coming up for sale. We just thought maybe we would hold off another year. So for next year, we will be running the same combines we ran this year. Well, we would go with a gleaner or a Kloss, either one. It just depends on what we could find at the time. I don't know if the next combine will be brand new, just because we have one new combine now, or newer combine. We don't really need both of them to be new.
Why do you stay away from livestock?
We just got out of it several years ago, and it's just not really where we're focused.
Would you demo a, I don't know how to pronounce this, Deutz tractor?
Deutz.
Deutz?
I'm guessing, where is it? Yeah, Deutz. Yeah, there's a guy in northwest Ohio, or I guess west central Ohio, Farmhand Mike. If he wanted to bring one down, I'd run it. But he hasn't.
That's mine.
Is that your hair? How'd that get there? So Mrs. Brown got a new haircut too. I don't know if you can tell that in this live stream. But she donated quite a bit of hair to, what's the foundation?
Children with hair loss.
That's the name of it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
What's the first combine you ever ran?
It was a 2006 it was a Kloss 570. It was the first machine I ever ran. I plugged it before Dad got 50 feet out of the driveway. So at that time, it was just Dad, George, and myself. I was 16, and I couldn't drive a semi yet, so we filled up the trucks, and then Dad threw me in the combine, gave me a 30-second lesson on how this combine ran, and then he was taking a truck out the driveway. And silly me, I took off combining corn at an idle and overloaded the sieves, and I called him, like, hey, I got these flashing triangles on the bottom right corner of this screen. Oh, I've never seen that. I was like, oh, shit. First experience running the combine.
Loss of Love, they charge people for the hair. So I don't do Locks of Love.
What? So people pay interference from. Put this out here. I think my beard's rubbing it.
So BJ loves the Bengals. Is he now part of the Bills Mafia?
BJ was at that game. He's a season ticket holder, and I don't know, he talked like it was a very affecting experience.
Traumatizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a Bills fan, but I mean, I think he wishes that guy the best, obviously. But he's still a diehard Bengals fan, and if they would have restarted that game, which they've canceled it, it's no longer on the schedule, he would have still predicted the score to be 153-0 Bengals, because that's been his prediction every game.
He's just tired of making predictions, so he's being ridiculous.
It's been that way since week 1. 153-0 every time I've asked him.
What are the soil types here?
I can't remember what the scientific names are for them, or what the book names are for them. A lot of silty loam, basically sandy soils. Clay with a little bit of sand in them in some places, but for the most part, sandy, very sandy.
My hair looks really nice, but I seem cranky. That's just who I am as a person, take it.
Yeah, you guys see the highlights of Kayla in the YouTube videos. She's just a cranky individual.
I'm not cranky. I just
She's
have
an old hag. Dax will tell you that.
RBF.
Yeah, Olivia got that from you. The other kids are happy looking. I get that from me.
You ever think you would buy a big Massey Ferguson combine?
Well, they don't make one at the moment. Notice I said at the moment. Not saying I have any inside information. Just saying at the moment they don't make a Massey Ferguson combine in North America. Now, overseas, I think they label the Fendt Ideal as a Massey Ferguson. But if Massey started producing a new combine that was very, I don't know, if it looked good and fit our operation, yeah, I would own one. But there's not a lot of Massey Ferguson combines in our area, older ones. Basically, like most areas, it's predominantly John Deere or Case IH with a scattering of Kloss and Gleaner combines.
RBF, resting witch face. Okay.
But that doesn't start with a B.
Well, you can figure it out, Brian. Do you see a problem getting fertilizer in the spring?
I hope not, but we didn't get fertilizer prices till like a week and a half ago this year. Last year, we bought our fertilizer in August. and saved quite a bit of money by doing that. Now, this year, our fertilizer is, I think it's basically the same price as we paid last August. Like August of 2020 is when we bought fertilizer for 2021. And there's almost no change in our fertilizer price, which shocked us. I thought that phosphorus would be closer to $1,000 and potash would be closer to $900, but that doesn't appear to be the case. It appears it's going to be between 550 and 6 and 650 and 7. So hope it's not hard to come by. We've already bought it, but we don't have it on hand yet.
Would you go snowmobiling with the Larsons and Johnsons?
I've never ran a snowmobile, but I like all things that have engines. I'm not scared to wreck a snowmobile. I will fly off that thing with the best of them. Kayla's been with me. I flew off a four-wheeler before.
No, you held on to the bitter
did.
end.
So when we first got married, I had a Grizzly 660 four-wheeler, and I'd went exploring up this baby mountain across the road the day before without Kayla. Oddly enough, we were bulldozing right beside there, and I was like, I'm just going to climb up this hill with this four-wheeler. Made it just fine. The next day I took Kayla for a ride. Yeah, I rolled down that hill attached to the four-wheeler while it landed on my face 3 times. I think I was passed out.
Yeah, you had a concussion.
Yeah, I was a little rattled. Yeah, she thought I was dead.
It's fine. It's fine. Are you getting planners ready yet?
Nope, have not got that far. So the horse, it's for the most part ready. There's actually still wheat in it. Other than that, it's ready. The John Deere, we haven't looked at anything on it yet. But yeah, the horse is pretty well ready. I've been planting wheat with it. Everything was running fine on it. There was no bearings out. And nothing's happened since wheat, so.
So it'll break down immediately the first day?
Probably. I am going to switch tractors right now. It's hooked to the Fendt. Dad may not like this, but he's going to run that Fendt with the corn planter because it has a bigger hydraulic pump. But yeah, we haven't touched the planter yet.
What's your favorite game to hunt?
Probably ducks. Dax is really starting to like deer hunting. I've cared more about deer hunting this year than I have in a long time. That said, we still haven't deer hunted a lot. Dax went hunting twice. He's killed a deer both times. But I like hunting ducks and geese.
Is it a warm winter for us so far?
Right now it's warm, but it was cold before this, so I'd say it's probably normal.
The kids got a whole week out of school extra because the water pipes, whatever, froze and busted in the school and flooded a bunch of things.
Now that's not normal. Normally it gets cold here, not sustained cold like it does in Minnesota, but we will see sub-zero for a few days every year. But I believe there was another thing that contributed to that water pipe busting in the school and flooded part of the school. But we got a little extra vacation.
How's the wheat looking?
Good, for the most part. We were supposed to spray it and we didn't. So that probably wasn't the greatest management decision, but at the time we were supposed to spray that, we were headlong into harvest and everything was just go, 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 and the wheat got overlooked for a second. But other than that, it looks pretty good. We're not seeing those effects yet, but we'll probably see those effects in about 2 months.
Does your grain go to human consumption?
Nope, not directly. So most of our corn will be grounded into animal feed, so secondhand you're eating it, but no, the corn we're growing in the field is not something you're getting out of a can. It's Kroger's and eating. Neither are the beans. I guess I don't know exactly where our beans go, but they're not edible. They're not food grade. We're not selling them as food grade beans, so yeah.
If there was any factories near us that used grain for food, would you switch what you were growing?
Depending on how profitable it was and how much of a pain in the ass it was. So I know Tyler, they raise kind of beans are those? Not the ones that you guys eat at the Japanese steakhouse.
Edamame.
But they raise some kind of beans that are edible, and they get a big premium, but there's also several other things that are pain in the butt about them. I just can't remember what the name of those beans are.
I don't know. Is there anything grown in your area, or is it just corn, wheat, and soybeans?
And that's pretty much it. There's a few.
You get the occasional weed hidden.
Yeah. One farm down the road, they raise a lot of popcorn. The Corcorans raise a lot of popcorn. But that's about it.
Turtle beans. Is that what you were?
No. Have to ask Tyler what they are. But I can't remember.
Have you started hauling any grain?
Not yet. We haven't hauled anything since the first week of December. I would say Monday will be the first day of hauling hauling crops in 2023.
The couch looks like this because I have cleaned it. It doesn't handle water very well. So anytime I wipe food off of here, it gets stained.
Someone complained that our couch is dirty.
I don't know. They don't have kids, clearly.
Yeah, we have 3 kids and a white couch. Also, we bought these couches knowing that we were going to move here soon, and these were pretty cheap couches.
Yeah. And a Tommy's beans? I don't know. I don't know. Courthouse takes corn for dog food.
Yep. I've never hauled any there. If I'm not mistaken, you kind of have to schedule when you're bringing corn there, and I don't know, we're never that planned ahead.
Are you doing any podcasts soon?
Did one with Dad last week. Should be out sometime this coming week or sometime in the next 10 days.
It was like 4 hours.
It was 4 hours. It's going to be a 2-parter. Dad's very windy, and you get him talking about the old days. He never shuts up, and I just wanted to let him go. We went decade by decade, and now that I'm looking back, we forgot a lot of stuff. Decade by decade. We started in the 50s. We went to 2020.
Josh, I drive a Nimbus 3000. That's the broomstick I have.
What?
Jackass. He asked me what kind of broom I drove.
2021 Suburban.
Is there any reason you don't use a John Deere equipment?
No, it's just we bought what we've had good service with and has been affordable. And we were 100% John Deere till I was 18. Or well, I guess till I was probably 16. We bought a different combine, but it just got to where we could do the same job or better job with equipment that cost less money.
Did you see the new planter that John Deere's coming out with?
I have not.
What do you get from Casa?
From where? Casa?
Yeah.
Mexican chef salad and bean and cheese burrito.
Apparently, he meant boomstick. I don't even know what that is.
A gun.
Not broomstick.
Like asking what kind of gun you shoot, probably.
That's not what it said at all.
Oh.
But I don't.
Kayla is not a firearms enthusiast like Dax and I.
No. Shoot a Nerf gun.
She does have a CCW, so watch yourself, folks.
What do you think is the greatest threat to farms today?
Misinformed people would be pretty high on my list. Most of the people that think that we're trying to kill the world know little to nothing about farming. And what they do know, they've read in some book wrote by someone who knows nothing about farming. And unfortunately, some of those people are the people that make policy.
What What's your reasoning for building your new house?
Well, the house we live in is the home place on our farm. So when Kayla and I got married, my cousin lived here. She was getting divorced from her husband, and they were selling it. And it kind of felt like we didn't really have a whole lot of choices. Like,
We had choices. Brian just didn't want to look at any house other than this
well,
one.
I wanted to live here too. I mean,
Okay,
this was
there were choices.
this was the home place. I wanted to live here. But after living here for a few years, it's just not how we would design a house. There's lots of things that make no sense. Like, this house has been built onto multiple times. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad house, but I've always wanted to design my own house. Kayla's always wanted to live in a house she designed, I think.
I don't like having an upstairs. I'd
Yeah,
rather
so-
have one level.
So probably 6 years ago, we started, how would we design a house? And we've been wanting to build a house ever since. So hopefully now it's finally happening.
Are wheat and double crop beans the highest grossing crop?
This year they were. Not normally. Normally wheat doesn't make much money at all. Usually the double crop beans are the only reason wheat makes money, which is why a lot of people in this area just don't even grow wheat. But I mean, we raise high yielding wheat for the most part, or comparatively. Like, I think we're probably averaging upper 90s across 400 acres of wheat. But it's just not been a profitable crop until this past year. And this year we had one of the best double crop years we've ever had, so made for a very profitable crop this year.
Does anyone raise tobacco?
Not in Ross County. If you go a couple counties south along the Ohio River, you'll see some tobacco, but it's kind of a dying crop, in my opinion. I don't know anyone that raises tobacco anyways.
Did you get the tracks on the D8?
Not yet. We're close. So someone said, at what point would it be cheaper? I seen this on an Instagram message. At what point would it have been cheaper to hire someone to do those tracks? We're not even close to there. Like, we have a grand total of maybe, I'm counting putting the tracks together and everything, 10 hours on those tracks. Putting the track on the dozer, like one side of the dozer is broken. That's why it's not done yet. The side that wasn't broken, it took like less than an hour to put the track on. That was not hard at all. Brad, the guy that works for us, he used to work on D8 bulldozers for a living. So he's very knowledgeable on how to do things like that. And I told him the other day, I was like, this is almost not fun. We would have spent days trying to figure this out. He's like, just telling us what to do, and it worked fine. But we discovered some carnage when we were taking apart the one side of the dozer, and that's what's delaying the whole process. So right now, the D8 is sitting out the shop with the blade off of it and half the track assembly disassembled on the left side. But there's only like $600 worth of parts to fix what was wrong, and we can do it all. So all in all, not bad. It's definitely the time to do it while the blade's off of it and the track's off of it.
Apparently there is tobacco in Adams County and Highland County.
I didn't know there was any in Highland County.
Just telling you. Are you looking for a low boy to pull the D8?
I mean, I would like to have one, but Dad isn't really worried about it too much. For the most part, we're not going to move that dozer a lot. And if it wasn't for a set of railroad tracks, we could drive it everywhere we need it. So I think we're going to do some stuff around here for about a year. And then next year, I think we're going to move that dozer over by the river and kind of leave it over there for a year. But we'll hire someone to move it then until we find a low boy. It's kind of the plan. Dogs sound angry.
Yeah, I wonder what's out there.
Pesky mailman.
They don't like him.
No, we haven't attacked Basset, folks, so watch yourself. He's a very angry dog.
How long have you been YouTubing?
I started in 2018.
I am a committed seed rep. What would be your advice for a CCA to talk to a grower?
I was trying to think what CCA would mean. I'm guessing.
I don't know. As a seed rep, what would be your advice for how to talk to a grower?
I don't know. I guess it depends on the grower. I mean,
Be honest about all your stuff.
yeah, and if you don't know something, just say I don't know. Like, don't bullshit people. People can see through that.
We also like lunch.
Everyone likes lunch, and everyone likes free coats in winter. Hat's nice, but when someone brings a guy a coat, he's going to wear that when it's cold. But be honest. Don't bullcrap on things. Like, if you've never sold that seed variety in this area, don't say you have. Like, oh yeah, it works great. You don't know. Might not.
Certified crop consultant.
Just wondering if it was something along those lines.
Is your winter really your slow time?
Yeah, I mean, compared to winter or spring and fall, for sure, it's definitely the slowest time. I mean, people think that we don't do anything, but I mean, we are working, especially now that Brad works for us. I mean, he's coming to work Monday through Friday, so we're doing something Monday through Friday. But it's definitely not as high paced as harvest. I mean, harvest is every day.
I could come up with a honey-do list. What's the update on the old Cub Cadet shop?
So the one that we rebuilt the John Deere planter and sold, it is no longer ours. It is partially a gas station that has not been open to the public yet. So I don't know what their holdup is, but it's no longer our concern. So it just doesn't really, I don't really worry about it much.
Are you going to Louisville for the?
Yep,
Okay.
we'll be there. Yep, we'll be there Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Plywood and tires can get you across the railroad track.
Unless you get hit by a train.
There's no train.
The one track there is to get to the river, they use that one pretty often.
Oh,
Yeah,
I meant the ones like here.
not that one. I ain't worried about that one at all. It's condemned, but the other one's not condemned. And I feel like if they catch you on that train track, yes, there's gonna be hell to pay. Especially if you tear something up.
How much land did you lose when they put in the new 35?
I'm trying to think. Let me think here. Definitely 20 acres on one farm. I'd say probably 35 acres. We didn't own all that. The 20 acres we did own. I mean, Dad was paid for that, but it still sucks. But I think he was a proponent of the highway going through because the old highway was a 2-lane road that was very busy. There was always accidents on it. I mean, people getting in fatality accidents. So he wasn't exactly mad that road went through, but we probably lost 35 acres. Biggest gripe is we can hear it from the house. I don't really like that part.
Do you have any livestock for your own freezer?
Nope, just the ones in the freezer.
We buy from friends.
Yep, I still have a few friends that raise cattle. And someone actually gave us a pig last year, a subscriber, Yetzi Farms. Thank you. Shout out to them guys. But yeah, we have a pig and a part of a pig and a part of a cow in the freezer.
I think you need egg-laying hens.
We went down that road.
That was when eggs were like 50 cents though. Now they're like $7 or $8.
Yeah, I remember when we had chickens, and we weren't trying to make money on those chickens. It was a hobby. But I remember thinking, man, at Aldi's eggs are $1 a dozen,
Yeah.
and a bag of feed is like $8,
Yeah.
$10.
I don't know. Was that like 5 or 6 years ago? It was a waste of money.
Yeah.
But now I don't know.
I think George still has one of our chickens. Old Chicken Letta is still alive.
Chocolate.
But Hans, Dad's German Shepherd, ate like 6 of our chickens. A raccoon ate a few of them. Possum ate a few of them. Yeah, we started out with 21 chickens. We ended up with 1, and that's the one George got.
No, I gave a bunch away
Oh, well, whatever.
because I was tired of Hans eating them, so I gave them away. Bag of chicken feed is $20 in Texas.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because grain has also doubled since we had chickens. But I don't know. I mean, they were kind of cool, but I don't think having chickens is really worth it unless you have enough to make money, and we didn't.
How many children have you planned for? We have 3. That's all we're getting.
And they were all intentional.
Yep. That doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I mean, well, they asked how many we planned for 3.
Have you considered using a liquid system instead of whatever fertilizer you do?
Let me see the question.
It keeps going away. I don't even know where it is. Due to dry fertilized prices, have you ever considered using an all liquid system?
So we use liquid nitrogen. I mean, I don't know what liquid products there are for phosphorus or potassium. But one thing I would like to do is put a liquid system on our planter. We don't have that at the moment. Not necessarily even for fertilizer, but there's a fungicide product called Xyway, I believe is the name of it. Basically, you can put your fungicide on with your planter. I like that idea. I'd probably still use fungicide at like R1, but I think that would get us disease-free till R1. So that is something I would like to do in the future.
Did BJ learn to drive a stick semi?
BJ can drive one. He just hasn't got the confidence to drive one to town yet. And I don't think he'll get there until...
He absolutely has to and doesn't have a choice.
I mean, that's what happened to me. I mean, it was one of them, like, Kayla rode with me the first time I drove one to town. She did not know that at the time when I left, but that was the first time I ever drove one to town because everything was full and I was the only person there to drive the truck. I mean, I think if BJ got put in that same situation, he would do fine, but he just hasn't done it yet. He drives them empty all the time. He drives them loaded to our grain bins. He's just never drove one to town yet. We're still going to bust his balls about it, though. Hopefully he doesn't watch this part of the video.
Would you ever grow hay for horses?
So I have this buddy in Buckeye, Arizona called Bales Hay. And after talking to him, no. It seems like it's a business that, I don't know, seems like it's very hard to satisfy all customers in that line of work. And we don't grow hay, so. Not anytime in the near future, anyways.
Do you side dress or put the Nutrigen on up front?
Nitrogen. So we side dress with our sprayer. We do it in 2 shots, sometimes 3, sometimes 1, depending on the fields and the conditions. But typically we will plant, or sometimes even before we plant, we'll spray a little bit of 28 on, and then we'll come back and side dress, usually mid-June.
We saw the Flying Farmer tonight, but we did not get beef from him.
Yeah, we did see him tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we get, last few times we've got beef from one of my friends, and then actually BJ got one from one of his buddies. So there's several farms in the area that still produce livestock, and we get some from people that we talk to pretty often, and just haven't got any from the Flying Farmer yet. But if you guys have not checked out his channel, check it out. The Flying Farmer is a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force and a farmer, and he YouTubes both of those jobs, so check that out.
How's the wheat after the bitter cold?
We had just enough snow cover to help. So one thing people probably don't realize, if it's going to be cold and you have wheat, you want snow. That snow will actually insulate that wheat from that cold. We had enough to not quite cover the wheat completely, but it definitely helped. So
Have you seen the video of the Nexat harvester?
I have. So Ag with Emma, that's a YouTube channel that had that. But Dad has been watching that thing for like a year now. I can't remember when we first seen that thing. It is the goofiest looking combine you'll ever see. It's a very cool concept. It's a 20-row corn head. The whole machine pivots, like it turns into like a, I don't know how to describe it. Google it. Nextat combine. Unfortunately for that machine, I believe it was built in the Ukraine or tested in the Ukraine a lot. Seemed like a lot of them were in the Ukraine. Guessing that made things complicated.
Any plans for future irrigation, I'm guessing?
Not immediate plans. I would love to have a pivot at some point when the circumstances prevent or make it doable. We will have one. I would really like to, especially in our sandier soils. Fortunately, we get a lot of rain. So, like, for example, at Farm Progress Show, I was talking to Laura Farms and her husband Grant. Where they farm, they have pivots everywhere, and there's like a 100 to 150 bushel yield swing under those pivots to not under those pivots. Here, it's more like a 50 bushel yield swing. So it's a bunch of bushels, but it's not near as drastic, I guess. I would like to have a pivot at some point, though. They're just not near as widespread as you're going to see in like Nebraska in our area.
When and where is our next vacation?
Uh,
I don't know.
Trying to think when we're going on a trip together again.
I don't know.
Her student
We
teaching.
should have been going to the Dominican Republic.
Yes,
but
every year we go on a trip in January with our seed company. We have a seed meeting at a tropical location every year, conveniently. And this year was it Punta Cana or was it Dominican or what?
Can you say that again? What were the options?
Punta Cana? Is that wrong? Is that wrong?
It's not right.
Oh. Either way, I can't remember where the Sea Consultants trip is this year, but we were going to go on that, but she's student teaching, so we can't, unfortunately. Like I said, I'm going to the Farm Machinery Show. I think I might be going to Con Expo in Vegas with Volvo equipment, but I haven't got any confirmation from Volvo yet, so not 100% sure, but that'll be a just me trip too, so probably July will be our next vacation, like big vacation. Anybody else going to Con Expo?
I just saw something. You gonna lose any ground to solar farms?
I don't think so. There's one farm that they're wanting to buy right beside a substation. I haven't talked to that landowner yet. It's not a lot of land. I mean, less than 30 acres, but I don't think so. We get letters pretty often about putting our farms in solar panels. If you haven't noticed from Instagram or Facebook, I'm not a big fan of solar panels. I believe anyone should be able to do with their property as they wish. At the same time, if they put their farm into a subdivision, I would be against that, and I'm against solar panels too. I think they're both the same thing. That farm will never be farmed again. It is a terrible thing for conservation. Not a huge fan.
Why is Alexa talking?
Alexa's always listening. Oh, she set a reminder on it. That's why.
Oh.
Yeah, Santa Claus brought an Alexa for our daughter. It's a mean trick. So this would be a good time for you guys to thumbs up this live stream if you're enjoying it. You know,
Do we watch Yellowstone?
we do. Caleb bought me a black cowboy hat and a black jean jacket for some reason. I don't know.
I did not.
No, she didn't. We do watch Yellowstone. We started watching 1923, but I can't figure out where to find the next episodes after one. In fact, we have an episode to catch up on Yellowstone.
Watching this on my flip phone. How?
Yeah, how are you doing that?
I almost wrecked my Power Stroke.
My dude is still living in 2002.
Yeah. Our Amish friends were.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're up to date.
The Amish guy that's building our house is probably watching this on an iPhone.
Somebody would like to tour your facility.
So unfortunately, at this point in time, we are not set up for tours.
I don't
Maybe
think we're
it-
ever going to do tours.
Maybe at some point, like in that podcast, I can't remember if it was in the podcast or during the podcast or after the podcast or whatever. Dad said that he thought it'd be cool to have a farm set up for things like that. Like, we're going to be harvesting this farm for these 2 weeks. Come and ride in the combine. But we're not there. We're not even close to there. Like, we would need a farm that made sense, that was out of the way, that we could.
I've been asking to do the agritourism thing for like 3 years,
Well, you
and
need to-
that's not going to happen.
Well, you
But
need to-
we're going to do this.
No, we're not. But you should talk to Dad. Maybe he would be okay with it at some point. I'm not. I mean, the amount of manpower that would. I mean, to do what he was suggesting, you would need a whole dedicated harvest crew to not really do much for 2 weeks to give combine rides. But at the moment, we're not providing tours, I guess, long story short.
You're going to keep your Alexion for another year.
Yep, so this year, it will harvest in 2023. 2024, I don't know. That combine is 100% paid for. So it does have that going for it. And new combines are stupidly expensive. And interest is high now. So it was a lot easier to buy expensive equipment when interest was like 2 to 3%. Now that it's 7%, that's expensive.
Someone said we should have an open house for the new shop. I think we should do like a farm to plate dinner and sell tickets, and people can come eat dinner with you
We could
at
have
the
our
new
own
shop.
full pod event.
Yeah.
What are we going to give them? Like a piece of corn out of the field beside the shop, or what?
I don't know.
We're not exactly taking anything from farm to plate.
The dressbacks do. We take their food. Did your water freeze during the cold snap?
It did. We had a 40 to 50 mile an hour wind that night that it got real cold, and that froze a water line under a crawl space. Luckily, it did not bust it. PEX is a marvelous, marvelous source kind of water line, and it did not bust, but it did freeze.
How's the sure speed
So the
on
sure,
the planner?
so the sure speed is the type of meter we use on our corn planter from Ag Leader. So the first year we had several issues. We were getting a lot of false readings, like false. Basically, it was telling us the corn planter wasn't planting from time to time when it was. Which I'd rather it do that than not tell us and it actually not be planting. But it drove Dad crazy that first year, getting in and out of the machine 100 times a day, only to find out the machine was working fine. Last year it worked much better, so I have high hopes for this year. But we found that we could not plant 12 miles an hour like they advertise, only because our corn planter was not capable of holding together much more than 9 miles an hour in our soil conditions.
Did you get your truck fixed up the way you wanted it?
Yeah, for the most part. So that's a winter video idea. I was going to do a video of Dad and I's truck beds together and show the similarities, the differences, and how we have them laid out. But yeah, for the most part, I love my truck. Do you like my truck?
Yeah, I do. From James Burnett, how much moist do you need to grow a profitable crop?
So James,
Yeah.
So James, thank you for the super chat. $20. That's awesome. You just bought Kayla breakfast tomorrow. I guess I don't know what the exact measurement of moisture we need. We typically average over 40 inches of rainfall in our area of Ohio, so that's more than enough to grow a profitable corn crop. Years that it turns dry here, though, for example, Randy the master pipe player. I talk to Randy probably once a week. I think it was 2021. They got 2 inches of rain and they still grew 200 bushel corn. Not happening here. If that happens here, we won't even have a corn crop there. I mean, it will literally only be, it wouldn't even be worth driving through. So we definitely need more rain than some places. We probably need 20 inches of rain to make at least 10 to make a crop, to make it profitable over 20.
Do you know anybody named Mike Schuler? That's a no. Okay. We need a tour of how you and your dad set up the trucks.
Yeah, I think we can do something like that. Our truck beds are made by Hughes Equipment. So Hughes has never paid me. They've never sponsored any videos. I bought my truck bed pre-YouTube. Those people are just awesome. If you're looking for a utility bed, I highly advise them. Give Julie a call or Todd a call. But yeah, we'll do a video tour on how we set our beds up. They're both a little different, but we tried to keep them as similar as possible.
What's BJ doing with the truck he had before this one?
I believe his son is going to start driving that. BJ's middle son is 15. I think that's going to be his first wheels. He had a 2004 Duramax. BJ now has I think it's a 19 or an 18 one-ton Duramax. He is also getting a Hughes bed sometime in the next month or two. But yeah, I think his son is getting that truck. So watch out, Ross County. There's about to be a 16-year-old turned loose with a boat. Crew cab long bed.
How did the 30-inch beans turn out?
So that was actually in 2021. We didn't have any 30-inch beans this year. But if I remember right, there was almost no yield difference. And they turned out just fine. They were a pain in the ass to harvest because I couldn't go across the row because I was trying to do a plot, so I had to harvest with the row. I didn't really like that.
What was your favorite cab food?
During harvest?
Do you just sit in the cab of your combine and
I mean,
just
is that
eat
what the
food?
cab food during? Heck, I don't know.
Do you just sit in the cab of the combine and eat food, right?
I eat lunch there periodically. It's quiet. It's a comfortable cab. We got Harley pegs and everything. I don't know. Snacks. I eat a lot of breath mints, stuff like that, or jerky. Check out the WAG bars. Link in the description. Probably jerky or breath mints or something like that. Try not to snack because I eat a lot anyways. So I find the best way to not snack all day is don't take them.
We do have the Colorado, and I don't think we'd ever put a Hughes bed on it.
No, the Colorado is the fuel saver. That thing gets like 40 miles to the gallon, so it's staying the way it is.
Board of You says he wanted to finish this, but he has to finish up his video for tomorrow.
So yeah, check out Nathan Borderview Farms if you haven't. The dude puts out a video every day because he's crazy. He has lost his marbles, but do him a favor and check out his channel. Can you imagine doing that every day?
No.
Me neither.
I don't do it at all, so I wouldn't want to do it every day.
That's another question I get often is, does Kayla edit the videos? No.
Nope.
But if you get a question answered on a YouTube comment, it's probably her. Especially if you get a smartass answer.
I'm not always mean. I'm not always mean. Sometimes I just have the time for it. James did another super chat. He said, could you make a video about crop forecasting and or crop rotation in layman's terms?
It really wouldn't be a very interesting video. I mean, we pretty much stick to a rotation. Thanks for the super chat, James. But I mean, we pretty much just stick to a rotation. I mean, I know some farms will look at the markets and what they're thinking the market's going to do. We don't really do that, right or wrong. Basically, there's certain fields that we rotate wheat into because they're kind of upground fields that don't flood, and it just makes sense on that ground. Other than that, if it was corn one year, it's going to be beans the next year. Not really a whole lot of thought other than that and going into it for us. But we do try to keep the wheat out of the bottoms just because they flood periodically.
When can you allow working words in your videos?
So Dad says that all the time. I have been including more of them lately just with beeps. I used to just cut them completely out. But like I said, you guys need to listen to the podcast with Dad. I might post that podcast on this channel. There is a Working Words YouTube channel where I post the podcasts on. I might post the one with Dad, or at least part of it, on this channel just to kind of drive some traffic there. He cusses a lot. I don't know that we'll ever leave them on there for the most part. Just because some of them don't even make sense.
If you could change one thing on the farm, what would it be?
Trying to think what the one thing I would change would be. There's several little things. I mean, I would probably change a few zeros on our balance sheet. That'd be pretty cool. Like a little bit less debt, a little bit more equity. That'd be nice.
Why don't you save wheat for seed?
I don't know. Just always sold what we've raised and then bought more
Thought
wheat.
you weren't allowed to.
I'm sure, I can't remember if there's a tech fee with wheat or not. I'm sure there is. There's a tech fee with corn and beans that basically makes it not worth saving. I can't remember if there is with wheat. I'm sure there is, but I can't remember for sure.
How many hats do you have? Probably like 60. And that's only because I threw away the other 60.
Those are the ones in the house, though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, down at the office, Dad has a collection that takes up a whole wall. Then there's also
and
a
there's
cabinet.
like a whole yeah.
I mean, every company brings hats. The Oxbow rep was down yesterday, or 2 days ago. He brought like 4 hats. He's like, Brian, you want a hat? I was like, in all honesty, it will just sit on a shelf. And then he gave 4 to Dad, so.
They'll just sit down there until they rot.
I mean, Dad will grab Dad wears a hat till it gets dirty and stinky and he throws it away or throws it on a shelf where it sits till someone else throws it away.
He also doesn't throw things away.
But for the most part, I just wear my own hats. So, I mean, if you want a Brown's Farm hat, check farmfocus.com, Brian's Farm videos. But, yeah, a lot of hats.
I mean, they're nice hats. It's just there's so many hats.
Yeah. And I mean, especially, now that we make our own merchandise, I don't wear near as many different hats as I used to. I mean, I just like Dad, I used to just wear them till they stunk and throw them away.
Have you raised any other crops in the past?
I personally have not. So in the podcast, Dad talks about when he was younger, they didn't raise soybeans because they didn't have a way to harvest them in the 60s. But they did raise clover and Timothy, and I don't remember if he said that they raised alfalfa or not, but you have to listen to that podcast. I have personally never raised anything other than corn, beans, or wheat. Actually, I take that back. We grew cereal rye and harvested the seed to use as a cover crop.
Are small fields, ones that are like 10 to 15 acres, worth the hassle?
Yes, absolutely. So a 10-acre soybean field is going to produce roughly $7,500 worth of, well, I guess it's not profit, but it's probably still going to profit you $2,000 or $3,000. So, would you rather do that or bush hog it?
When will the podcast with your dad be posted?
Sometime in the next 10 days is my goal. So the podcast makes me absolutely $0. So it's very difficult for me to be motivated to edit that. As lazy as that sounds, I have 4 YouTube videos that pay that I need to edit. I'm just being completely honest. It's much more,
Motivational.
yes, to edit those ahead of the podcast. But sometime in the next 10 days is my plan.
How did the ticket system work during harvest?
Good. So if you don't know what we're talking about, BJ used our Pipe Ag system to keep track of stored grain. So Pipe Ag is a system that's basically set up for custom harvesters to keep track of grain hauled to elevators. We kind of rigged it up to work for hauling into our grain bins, and it worked great.
Do we still use Ariat product?
We do. I'm wearing an Ariat hoodie. There's an Ariat pair of boots over there by the door.
Dax's boots.
Dax's Ariat boots. I'm pretty picky on footwear. I have a couple of different pairs of boots that I wear. One's a pair of Ariats and one's a pair of Limbs. I'm a big fan of Ariat still. We are an affiliate with Ariat, so there's a discount code. But I was also using Ariat boots pre-YouTube. I didn't have near as much Ariat clothes pre-YouTube because I didn't even know they made clothes before they started giving them to me, in all honesty. But I like their clothing too. It's pretty comparable with Carhartt, that kind of line of like workwear, I think.
Would you ever consider any other types of beer other than soy, such as black beans? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, Larson's raised some black beans this year. I just don't think there's a market in our area. If there was and we could make it profitable, then yeah, I would 100% consider it.
Black beans for beer?
I didn't say it. Is that what they said?
Would you ever consider any other types of beer other than soy, such as black beans?
Must have meant beans because I don't think beer has beans in it.
Maybe, I don't know. What do you use to record field data?
So we use AgLeader Agfinity. That's actually going to be in the next YouTube video that comes out tomorrow. Basically everything that we're harvesting, planting, spraying is all done through an AgLeader monitor. Everything's being synced to Agfinity, which is wirelessly. I can pull it up on my iPad, I can pull it up on the computer, works great. Before that we were using Climate. FieldView Climate. FieldView worked great in certain circumstances. If we had 100% Case IH or 100% John Deere, I'd probably still be using FieldView, but it did not jive well with Kloss combines and a few other things, so that's why we use Agfinity.
Jeremy Wheelock said, thank you for the videos and sharing the Brown Farms life. Brian, I appreciate the work it takes.
Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for the super chat. Really appreciate that. We enjoy making the videos. One thing I really enjoy, like the podcast with Dad, really made me appreciate this more, is we're recording things that are going to be around as long as this platform is available. Looking back, there's videos with Mom still in them. Now that she's gone, that's really cool to see. In 2018, Dax was 3 years old, and he was riding around with me. And I don't know. I really like watching some of those old videos, so we enjoy doing them. Thanks for watching.
Would you buy the Gleaner again if you were in the market?
We would. We'd still price. We'd still look at other machines, but we have no regrets in our decision to buy the Gleaner. It has exceeded our expectations, what we thought it would do. In the last 2 years, we've had the best corn harvest we've ever had. Never before have we seen like 250 plus bushel corn with the regularity we've seen in the last 2 years. And that Gleaner has ate that corn like nobody's business. So Still happy with it. Would still do it again. The Clostreon is very intriguing to me. That was not an option when we bought the Gleaner. Had it been an option, it would have been between those two machines because they're in the same price point. So it would have been a kind of a toss-up between those two combines, but that wasn't an option when we bought the Gleaner, so no regrets.
There's a lot of repeating questions. The new building will get started in March. Brian likes the Nexat.
I mean, I would love to run that Nextat machine just because it is so different. If you haven't seen it, I mean, it's a completely different concept combine. How it is laid out is wild looking.
Is the old grain setup going to get any upgrades?
Yep, we're putting the new dryer in over there and a continuous flow air system. So
I am so tired. What time is it?
yeah, it's actually getting close to our bedtime. It's 10:30 here, and it's probably 9:30 in some places. But we're going to answer 3 questions, and then we're going to.
Where do you find the podcast?
So the podcast is called Working Words. So it is available on Apple, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, anywhere you can find podcasts. And there's also a YouTube channel called the Working Words Podcast, if you'd prefer to watch a podcast.
What kind of lights are you putting in the new shop?
I don't have a brand just yet, but some sort of LED high bay or just an LED light of some sort. At the old mower shop, we put in LED TAM lights. Really liked those, extremely bright, and they made a huge difference. It made that whole building seem more lively just by having brighter lights than the old dim lights that were in it. So some sort of LED light.
Will we ever get to see the top secret combine thing?
From 2022 or 2021. So 2021, we were running a Clostreon. And that was a secret combine that we weren't allowed to show in 2021.
I don't think you're even allowed to video it for you to show later, right?
That machine,
Yeah.
I mean, if I had video footage of it now, they wouldn't care because it's been released.
I thought someone that brought a demo said you couldn't even video it at all to show later.
I mean, they didn't want any kind of camera on it, but I mean, if I had it, they probably wouldn't care now. The one we ran this year, I'm not allowed to show, or not allowed to say what it is, but I would think of the words Old Dutch. That would be a really good clue. And it's yellow and black. But I didn't say the name of the combine or the model. But it was not a Class 10 machine. So one more question.
Is it bedtime? Yes.
I said
done.
I said 3.
End
That
it.
was 2.
No, it wasn't. Where'd you learn to count?
Did you answer 3?
No, but you did. How do you turn it off?
Not with that one.
Okay, go.
Don't forget you're wearing a microphone.